Okay, let's talk about your basic soloing for blues guitar. Now, your typical blues song is going to be a 12 bar with 3 chords. It's going to be the first, fourth, and fifth interval chords out of the respective key that you're playing in. And in accordance with those chords, we're going to select what we call resolving notes. So when you play a bit of your solo, you're going to play some notes and then you're going to end on a particular note. We call that a phrase. And those ending notes, it's very important to pick notes that match the chord that you're playing over. Okay, so for the one chord, we're going to select at a basic level, we're going to select the root note of the key that you're playing in, the first interval note. So for instance, if you're playing in the key of E, then we're going to resolve on an E note while we're in the chord of E. Then the next chord in the progression would be an A. So when the song changes to an A chord, it's going to be an A7 or an A9 typically. Then we're going to have our phrase close out at the time of that chord change and resolve on an A note. And then when the chord progression changes to the B, then we're going to resolve on a B note. Okay? Okay, so let's start by talking about the chord progression that we're going to be playing over in a minute. This will be typical for this style of music. We're going to be talking about an E7, A7, and a B7. Okay, so we're going to play over this progression with an E minor pentatonic. So let's start by looking at an F minor pentatonic for a moment. Okay, there's position 1 of the F minor pentatonic. So let's run that back into an E minor pentatonic, and if you can envision now, my index finger notes are going to correspond with the nut of the guitar. So it's going to be, so I don't really need to have the the index finger employed for this, so I could actually play this with some open string notes here. Okay, so where are these resolving notes? Well, let's just start by looking at the E note on the 4th string 2nd fret. That's going to be the resolving note for the 1 chord, the E7. Okay, so, and then right beside that E note on the 3rd string, there's an A note. That's going to be the 4th interval. So that's for our A7 chord. And then the B note on the 3rd string 4th fret, and that will be the resolving note for the B chord. Okay, so if you look at the physical layout of this here, what you notice is a little right triangle here with a point here, and then a point here. So that's a little memory aid that will help you remember where these resolving notes are. Okay, so now let's again, let's look at position 2 of the minor pentatonic in the key of E. Okay, so the resolving note here will be, we're going to look at, this is one of the resolving notes that's available. We're going to look at the E on the 2nd string 5th fret, and then again right beside it the 4th interval note, and that's going to be the A in this case. And then we have a B 2 frets up, 1st string 7th fret. So again, you see this right triangle. Here's the 3 points, E, A, and B. So that'll help you remember your 1, 4, and 5 notes as the chords change. Now, if we go back down here to the nut and look at look at the E, A, and B notes, we have a E note on the open 6th string. We have an A note on the open 5th string, and then 2 frets up from the open A note, we have a B note. So again, we have the right triangle. It's just you have to figure here that you have open strings are part of the points of this right triangle. You have your E note, A note, and B note. Same thing, right triangle there. Okay, so let's throw on a backing track and just run through these notes and how we're going to follow the change of the chord progression with these resolving notes. Okay, now while this track runs through the intro, we'll set up here on the E note, 4th string 2nd fret, and wait for the progression to come back to the E. And then we're going to resolve on that E. the right time, when it goes to an A, we're going to resolve on the A note. Okay, so there's your resolving note for the 4 chord. It's an A note in this case. We're going to go back to the 1. That will be an E now. Okay. Now we're on the way up to the 5 chord. That's going to be a B note in this case. Okay. Now we're going to go back down to the A. How you can hear chord changes happening in the solo of the resolving note. Okay, so now we started over on E. I missed the cue there, running my mouth, but you get the idea. Just different positions, same idea. We're going to wait now for the 4 chord to come up, and we're going to resolve on the A. Okay, here it comes. See how that note matches the chord. Then it's going to go back to an E. Resolve repeatedly on the E on this bridge. Back to the A, and now let's go down here. On the 5th string now, the A note. Open A note. We're going to go back down to the E. There's music here, I'm not making any notes. Now we're headed towards the B. Back down to the A. Back to the E. Turn around on the B. Back to the E. Okay. Down here. Okay, now. Of course, in reality, you're not just gonna hit the resolving note. You're doing a solo, of course. You're gonna be playing stuff between the resolving notes. That's just to give you the idea of selecting the right resolving notes and getting them played at the right time. Okay. Here's the B up here. Here's the A. Back to the E. Okay. Okay, so put that information together with some bending and some vibrato and some legato, and you'll have you a nice blues phrasing repertoire. And above all, practice, practice, practice.